Yeah, and I got to give my Tar Heels a lot of credit. It looked like they could have just been blown out. A lot of teams, when they go to fog and they get down big like that, they don't have the stamina, or it's such a tough place to play. They usually just kind of give in a little bit, but they dug in. I was really happy with the way that they came out in the second half, and I was, in particular, excited because they got down so big and they showed a little, toughness and fought their way back. But in all honesty, before the game, I thought R.J. Davis had to have a big night for us to have a chance to win. Didn't have his best outing. Neither did Cadeau or I really felt like R.J. didn't have his best game, but at the end of the game, for me, the big difference was Hunter Dickinson, and the reason I say that is because whenever they needed points or they needed rebounds, Hunter always came up big for them. So, like we've always said, this year it's going to be tough because we lack size and we don't have the traditional big. And Hunter's obviously one of the best bigs in the country, and he came up big for Kansas when they needed it, and so did Zeke Mayo.
Yeah, no doubt, Tyler. I mean, just carving out space too, Jarrell and Ant. We know that of Hunter Dickinson. He's just such a big body, and there were a couple of plays. And I know one of your breakdowns that you had on Twitter, which I love, is just a very nice play with Kansas. How they just ran some action with their guards and had everybody above the free throw line, which isolated Jalen Washington against Hunter Dickinson with no backside help because Washington fronted Hunter on that play. So I love that breakdown that you had.
Yeah, man. Like it's so tough when you have backside action on top of having people raise above the free throw line because the responsibility is if you have backside corner and you're supposed to be in help, you have the hole. So you can go to the so you can go to be the help for that Dickinson lob. But because everybody was so high, nobody knew that their role was to be the whole guy. I think John Beeline called it like it's like a snowball help where like that's nobody's job. So the person who's furthest away, that has to be your job. Then allow the second furthest player to kind of guard two away from the ball. But unless you go through it repeatedly, it's really hard to guard. But that's good film for North Carolina moving forward to be able to practice that, see that, and understanding each person's job. If you see that again.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, Jarrell, with this matchup, obviously the experience of the guard groups is so important, especially if you're a North Carolina team on the road going in the fog. And you look at guys like R.J. Davis, like Tyler said, even though he had 16 points, still really struggled shooting the basketball, 3 of 15, and even him and Elliot Cadeau combined to go 1 of 10 from 3. So when you have those situations where that basketball is not falling through the hoop, you got to find some other way to grind it out and keep yourself active in the game and really kind of stay within striking distance.
No, absolutely. And I'll just start off by first saying kudos to UNC and Kansas just for getting this deal done and make these type of games, especially early in the year. And it was a true road game, obviously a true home game for Kansas, man. And I think Tyler kind of hit it on the head. It was a gut check time at halftime. The thing could kind of go either way. I felt like UNC did a really good job at the end of that half, though. The freshman came in and gave them some big minutes with James Brown got a good putback there at the end. I want to say, what is it, Powell? The other kid came off the bench. He made some good active plays as well too. But it was at a point in that game where the game could have kind of got out of hand. KJ Adams started out the game and had 14 points in the first half, and Dickinson was getting everything that he wanted for the most part. And we kind of knew that was going to be a weakness of UNC just with the size difference, man. But at the end of the day, in college basketball, if you got good guards, you always got a chance. So I feel like they kind of captured that momentum going into the second half. Those guys didn't play nearly as good as they're going to play throughout the course of the year. Cadeau was good passing the ball. He didn't really get his jump shot working tonight, and I know that's something we all kind of going to have our eye on because we heard so much from Hubert Davis about the strides he's made as a player, especially with his outside shooting and things like that too. And then eventually Seth Trimble didn't have it going early, but he did a great job of just remaining aggressive and attacking the rim and getting some free throws. I think he shot close to 10 free throws tonight. And RJ Davis is, this is what he's going to get every night. He's going to have guys denying him. He's going to have guys face guarding him. You can't expect to go into other hostile places against really good teams and just think it's going to be easy. And guys are just going to let RJ Davis get whatever he wants. They're going to try to make it hard on him. And the game plan a lot of times is going to be try to keep the ball out of his hands and try to make somebody else beat us. But credit to UNC bigs, my boy Big Jalen Washington, Withers, man, those guys, they had it rough early in the first half, but they came out fighting, man. I think they both finished with like 9 rebounds. And at the end of the day, they're undersized, and that's all you want to see them do is scrap and fight because they got enough firepower on the perimeter side to win a lot of games this year.
Yeah, I love that you brought up Jalen Withers and also Jalen Washington. I mean, they both combined for 18 rebounds, but it got to a point it felt like when it came to Jalen Withers, he was just like, to hell with this, man. I'm stretching my game out to 3. I'm knocking down some shots because we need to get back in this ball game. Like, we don't have no time to waste, right? I mean, you have a guy that has played a lot of college basketball. Obviously, he's a transfer from Louisville. So, Tyler, when you have those situations, and of course, Jarrell can speak to this as well, along with you, Tyler, and also Ant, you got these older guys where they're like, you know what? We only got a certain amount of time before we make a run. And if we don't take advantage of this time right now, then we're going to get the doors blown off of us.
Yeah, and the one thing that, I'll say to that is I never thought I'd be yelling at my TV for Jay Witt to really be hemorrhaging a 3. But if you look at this game, he provided a big spark for this team. I mean, he hit a couple threes late in the game, and then he went to the hoop and finished on a layup. I thought, even before the season, I thought he could be a really good player for UNC just because of their lack of size. And he's a guy that can provide a lot of athleticism, and he's an older guy. And I really feel like he's going to kind of develop into a good player this year. But the other thing I will say about this game, and I knew this coming into it, for UNC to really be good, I really think that Drake Powell and N. Jackson, those 2 talented freshmen, I really feel like they have to be big contributors to this team. And I do think that UNC will be a different team mid or later in the year just because those guys are going to develop and they're going to have a big impact on this team.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Isaiah Jackson off the bench as well for UNC, Tyler, and of course Lubin. I want to kind of highlight Elliot Cadeau in this game. He had that opportunity to try and tie it against Hunter Dickinson. Shook Dickinson and had some space to try and knock down that 3. Should we expect more from Elliot Cadeau now for himself in year 2 with this situation at North Carolina when RJ Davis may have those nights where he's not shooting the basketball as well to try and help with the scoring aspect of it? Or is it more so with Cadeau, you'd rather see him create and make plays for others trying to get themselves going? Because I know he has that scoring gene. Like we've seen that, going back to last year. Like he's a guy that can really step in and make big shots. But were you expecting more from Cadeau? Anybody can answer this.
We trust that jumper yet?
Go ahead.
I know he's been working on it, but do we trust the jumper?
I'm kind of with Ant on this. And, I will say, if you look at the game when we took the lead, I really felt like our late game execution could have been a little bit better. If you watch that end of the game play, I think it was Jalen Washington who set a screen for RJ to flare. And I was begging for Jalen to re-screen for RJ to come back around the corner and Cadeau pass it to him. I really feel when you have a player like RJ, and you look, even the end of the Elon game when we, kind of struggled, Elon took the lead, RJ took over that game. I really feel like you got to figure out how to get RJ, that last shot just because he is that guy and he's a proven guy. And, even though he had a bad shooting night, I want RJ taking that shot. This is how much trust I have in him. But that's what I would say.